Hey, scholars, let's take a look at a partnership, old friends partnership. And they're going to be four partners, and they're going to have a profit, and then they're going to split it. And of course, they're going to have a whole bunch of things that they have to split it on. So let's take a look at this partnership together. All right, we have the old friends, and we got a whole bunch of them. And we have Jones, Richards, Baker, and Leonard. We have Jones has a capital account of 75, Richard has 15,000, Baker 65, Leonard 45. If you add those all up, that's $200,000 of total capital, right? 75 plus 15 is 90, 90 plus 65 is 155, plus the 45, 200,000. It says interest of 4% is to be paid on the capital balances, so 4% of each of those they'll get first. Salaries of 20,000 are to be paid evenly to Jones and Baker, so only two of them get it. Remember, you got to read the question carefully. So each one gets 20,000. That's going to be Jones gets 20, Baker gets 20. Then a bonus of 5% of profits is to be paid to both Richards and Leonard. The other two, they didn't get the salary, but they'll get a 5%. After all of those subtracts, then what happens? Then we take the remaining balance and allocate it. But how do we allocate it? Well, it says right here, Richards and Leonard after interest and salary payments, but prior to it, which is based on capital percentages. So here are the capital percentages, and we're going to take a look at how they operate. Okay, now let's take a look at this. The 200,000. We had 75,000 for Jones. 75,000 of 200,000 is 37.5. Then Richards had 15,000. 15,000 of 200,000 is 7.5%. Baker had 65,000. 65,000 of 200,000 is 32.5. And then finally, we had our last guy, Leonard. He had 45,000 of 200,000 is 22.5%. So this is what they're going to do. We're going to have our profit distributions at this point in time. So let's go on and see what the next one's going to be. Well, we're starting with interest. Everybody gets 4% on their capital account. So we know it's 4% times 75,000 is 3,000. Then we take 4% times 15,000 is $600. Then we take 4% of the 65,000, and that's going to be 2,600. And then we take 4% on the 45,000, and that's $1,800. So there's the starting point of how we're going to break the interest out. Let's move on to the next item. Now we have the salary, and remember, it's only two of them. So two of them, they split evenly the 20,000. So Jones gets 10, Baker gets 10. Remember, the other two don't get anything. That would be an easy mistake if you rushed. I could see a lot of candidates not reading carefully, saying 5, 5, 5, and 5. And of course, you're not going to arrive at the right answer. And it's all because you had to read the call of the question. So then the next item we're going to look at is we're going to have a bonus. Now the bonus is going to be paid. So the bonus at this point is the 140 minus the 28,000 that's already been distributed. So now we ultimately have a grand total, in this particular case, we have a grand total of $112,000. 10% of 112 is 11,002. 11,002 is split half to Richards, half to Leonard. So they'll get those halves. Now, whatever's left over, let's move up. The remaining profit is $100,800. And how do we divide that? 37.5% goes to Jones, which is 37.8. Then 7.5% is going to go to Richards. That's 7,560. Then 32.5% of the 108 is going to go to Baker. That's 32,760. And finally, 22.5% is going to go to Leonard, and that's $22,680. So all said and done, we add it up, and you'll see the total that will be distributed is $50,800 to Jones, $13,760 to Richards, $45,360 to Baker, and Leonard will get $30,080. Now, the only other question I could imagine they would ask is, what are the ending balances? And of course, the only difference there is you would take their original capital account, Jones's case 75,000, and add that. Richards, you would take the 15,000 and add the total. Then with Baker, you would take 65,000 and add the total. And Leonard, you would take the 45,000. That's probably the only other question I can imagine they would ask in this type of a computation. But hopefully, if you read the question carefully and you did the precise things they said in the order they said to do them, in this case, it was interest first, then salary, then bonus. They'll tell you that order, and that order will be important for the allocation. Hopefully this helped, and you're ready to move on to the next practice.